Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're decoding the secret signals people send out all the time. We're going to dive into the work of Patrick King to learn how to see what people are really thinking, even when their words are telling you a totally different story.
So get this, in any conversation you have, the actual words you use, they're just a tiny piece of the puzzle. A whopping 80% of all our communication is nonverbal. That's right, there's this whole hidden language flowing underneath every single interaction, and most of us are completely missing it.
And that's the big question, right? How do you tap into that? Well, learning to read these signals, it's like getting a cheat code for understanding people. It lets you see past what they're saying and get to what they're actually feeling.
Okay, so let's jump in and start breaking down this unspoken conversation. And look, this isn't some kind of magic trick. It's a language that's hardwired into our DNA. And believe it or not, we are all speaking it all the time.
I mean, think about it. Long before we had spoken words, we had body language. It's our most basic, fundamental way of connecting with each other. And honestly, it's often the truth teller, especially when our words might be trying to hide something.
All right, so to start decoding this, we can pretty much split every signal into two basic camps. You've got your open signals that are inviting, and then you have your closed signals that are defensive. Just understanding this simple difference is the first major key to unlocking how someone is really feeling. And it's actually pretty simple when you see it laid out. Open signals, like showing your palms, basically broadcast that you have nothing to hide. You see this in kids, right? They hold their hands out when they're proud, but they'll hide them when they feel guilty. Even something as small as unbuttoning a coat can be a signal that says, hey, I'm open to you and your ideas.
Now, on the flip side, you've got the closed signals. In the crossed arm position, that's like putting up a universal barricade. The moment you see that, the person you're talking to has probably shut down. So here's the key. Stop what you're saying. Pushing the same point is useless. You've got to change your approach to get them to literally and figuratively unfold.
Okay, let's go a level deeper now. Because beyond just simple open or closed feelings, body language can actually give you a window into someone's thought process. You can see if they're evaluating, if they're confident, or if they're getting ready to make a move.
You can often watch a decision happen right in front of your eyes. It starts with step one. They're listening intently. You'll see their head tilt a bit. That shows they're really engaged. Then comes step two. They start thinking deeply. You know that classic thinker's pose with the hand on the cheek, maybe an index finger raised? That means they are actively weighing what you just said.
And then, boom, step three. When you see someone shift forward to the edge of their seat, it means the evaluation is over, and they are physically getting ready for action. In a sales meeting, that's a massive buying signal. But a word of caution, if the conversation is going south, it could also mean they're about to get up and walk right out the door.
Confidence, well, it has its own set of tells. Ever see someone do the steeple, where they lightly touch their fingertips together? That's a sign they feel really certain and proud of what they know. The hands on hips pose, that's all about being ready and goal-oriented. And of course, putting your feet on the desk. That's a classic power move. Basically a nonverbal way of saying, I own this place.
Of course, it's just as crucial to be able to spot the red flags. These are the signals that tell you something just isn't right. We're talking about signs of suspicion, nervousness, or some kind of internal conflict going on.
So if you want to know if someone has mentally checked out, just look for these clues. If their feet or even their whole body are pointing towards the door, that's a dead giveaway they want to escape. A light little rub of the nose can signal doubt, or maybe that they're holding something back. And that blank zombie stare, they might be looking at you, but trust me, they stopped listening a long, long time ago.
And this is where body language basically becomes a lie detector. Someone might say all the right things, oh yeah, I'm really open-minded about this. But if their hands are clenched into tight fists, their body is literally screaming frustration. Always, always trust the nonverbal signal over the words.
Now, you really want to pay close attention to this next one. When you see someone gripping their own wrist or arm behind their back, it's a huge sign of self-control. They're fighting back a really strong negative emotion, like anger or major frustration, and they are trying with everything they've got not to let it show.
It's also super helpful to know the difference between just general nervousness and a specific need for reassurance. So things like covering the mouth or fidgeting, that's general anxiety. But gestures like pinching the fleshy part of their hand or chewing on a pen, that suggests they're feeling insecure about what they just said, and they're looking to you to tell them it's okay.
So we've looked at all these different signals. Open, closed, confident, nervous. But what do we do with all this? How do we put it all together to actually, communicate better?
So let's recap the big ones. You're looking for those positive cues, like openness and evaluation.
You want to spot that shift to readiness, or that hand on the chest gesture, which is a universal sign of sincere acceptance. But at the same time, you've got to recognize the warning signs, like crossed arms or clenched fists. Those are your cues to pause and maybe try a different path.
And here's the most important part. The goal here isn't to become some kind of mind reader or a human lie detector. The real power in understanding body language is that it makes you more empathetic. It lets you understand what other people are feeling without them having to say a word, and that allows you to build genuinely stronger connections.
So, now you have the cheat code. You can start using this immediately. So I'll ask you this. In your very next conversation today, what's the one signal you're going to look for? Because paying attention to it might just change how you connect with people.